It's a Gundam.
It's a Gundam! It's a Gundam! Mean! A gun!
No, but seriously, it's a Gundam. I just built this. It's really fucking cool. Alright, what's going on, guys? The Worst Duelist here. So, I have something kind of cool today, as you can tell from the thumbnail. I have Super QUANTs here. So, Super QUANTs was a deck that was like rogue when it came out, and it's still, of course, rogue now. But, this build is kind of a newer take on the build. I saw something quite similar to this list on MCO40's channel. It's kind of like a mid-range take on the deck, which I think is probably the only way that you could go about playing the deck now that Brilliant Fusion is banned. Whenever the deck first came out, we had access to triple terraforming, triple emergency teleport, triple chicken game, so it was very, very consistent to be able to summon the Great Magnus, rank 12, this guy. But nowadays, it's a lot harder to get this guy out with 6 materials. Like, you can definitely summon this turn 1, but it'll only really be with 4. And obviously, we'll get into this guy later, but you really want to get him with 6+. But the way that this deck functions is you kind of play for like a turn 3, and then you can go into Great Magnus if you want. But typically you're only going to be getting in with 4 to 5 materials, which is still good for a turn 3 simplified game state, but it's not quite what it used to be. Anyway, I don't want to waste a lot more time kind of going over the deck, and we'll just get right into the profile and take a look at it. So we have pretty much 3 of all the quants, but they all have 2 effects, and I'll just briefly go over them. So the Super Quantum Fairy Alphen is level 1 fairy, of course, and then once returned you can target 1 Super Quant monster you control, and then all face-up monsters you control currently become the same level. And then you can tribute this guy and reveal 3 Super Quants with different names from your deck. Your opponent picks one and summons it to your field, and then the others go to grave, which is very good because all of the other Super Quant monsters have effects when they go to graveyard, which is definitely nice. So then we have the triple super quantum blue layer. So when this one is normal or special summon, you add 1 quant card, I think is what it says. 1 super quant card from your deck to your hand except itself. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you target 3 quants with different names. Nope, just 3 quant cards in your graveyard, 3 super quant cards in your graveyard, and shuffle them back in. You don't draw, so it's not quite like a mini avarice effect, but it's just good for your grind game, which is kind of what we're trying to do with this list anyway. We have triple red layer. A lot of people know what red layer does through Inferno utilizing it. Fire, warrior, level 5. Basically, it says if you control no monsters, you can summon it. Whenever this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 super quant card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Very important, that is 1 super quant card. Then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 super quant monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which is quite nice. So next on the list we have the triple super quantum green layer. This guy's kind of like a goblin bird. Whenever you normal or special summon him, you can special summon 1 super quant monster from your hand, which is very nice because you can get Alphen, and you can also get the white layer and trigger those cards' effects as well. And then whenever he's sent to the graveyard, you can discard 1 super quant card and you draw 1 card. Then we have the white layer, of course, being the newest one. This card is very good. It doesn't really solve a lot of the core problems with the deck in terms of being able to summon Great Magnus with 6+ materials, but it does do a lot of things in the ways of consistency for the deck. So basically what the guy says is you can send 1 non-light super quant monster from your hand to the graveyard, hand or field to the graveyard, and special summon it. Whenever he's normal or special summoned, you can send 1 super quant monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then he basically copies its attribute and level. So that's nice, but also it will trigger the quant that you send, so you can like go for him, and then you can send a red layer, and you can special summon a guy back from your grave, which is very nice. And then of course, when he is sent to the graveyard, you can add Super Quantum Fairy Alphen, which is super cool as well for just the ways of consistency. You know, just Alphen is an additional search card. As opposed to your blue layer. So that is all the quants. You basically, like I said, you play 3 of all of them because they're just, it's what the deck revolves around. You need to be able to see a quant plus like field spell or something. But anyway, for the more generic stuff, we have triple Ash because we need to play hand traps if we're playing mid-range, and we have triple Valor. And the main reason we're going with Valor over something like Bell is because we're playing Selene Access Code. And of course, Valor is good this format. Valor is pretty much good like every format, but you know, I digress. It's mostly here for Selene Access Code. Spells, we got triple Desires because draw 2, and you pretty much play 3 of everything. I considered a build where you play Extravagance and just play 3 of every Exceed, and then you play 5 or Selene Access Code, because it's what, 4 exceeds, and then you can play, yeah, so it'd be 12, and then you just play the Fiber, Access Code, and Celine, and you just don't bother with Great Magnus. But as of right now, the Desires has worked out fine. There's not really like any brick cards. Like, I'm not playing Double or Nothing for cheesy OTKs, and I'm also not playing the Artifact Scythe in the main deck for the play with Grand Pulse, the rank 3 water Exceed monster. So we got the 3 Quantum Mecha, whatever, the fucking field spell. Yeah, so this card's fantastic. Of course, it's kind of makes your Quants sort of act like a primordial Zodiac monster, if you will. So basically what the card says is you can discard 1 card, target 1 super quantum monster you control, and then you can special summon from your extra deck 1 super quantal mech beast, Exceed monster with the same attribute, and then you can send this to the grave, and then you can target 3 super quantum mech exceeds from your field or in your graveyard, and you basically smash them all together and you make Great Magnus, keeping any materials they had on board as well. So the main downfall of this card, the only real downfall of this card is you can't use Alphen to make the light exceed. So that kind of sucks, but other than that, it just kind of does what we're trying to do here with this deck. You know, of course, all of the exceeds have the ability to make their effects quick effects when you have the corresponding super quantum monster underneath them. And then, of course, we have Terraforming to go with it. Forgot to include that with the field spell. We got Double Cosmic. This is actually the Double or Nothing and the Scythe slot from the list that was on MCO40's channel, and I simply just put the Cosmics in because I felt like it was just kind of the move, seeing as how we're going for this mid-range strategy. We kind of want to cover all of our ends. And, of course, main deck Optimistic Mind is always nice as well. So we got the Cosmics in the main. The broken one-of cards we have Called By, because it's just nice to have in a deck like this. Emergency Teleport, you know, this deck could be a lot better if we had more of these, but there again, a lot of decks could be a lot better if we had more of these. But yeah, so we got the 1 Teleport. Of course, it fetches your blue layer, so it can get you to search into anything you want. And then I also play Foolish, because Foolish triggers any of your Quantum's grave effects, which is very nice. So this basically just is the effect of any Quantum monster on the back end of things. So yeah, I was including this here. I've been liking the Foolish so far. So traps, we got Triple Strike, Triple Imperm, and then 1 Order, because Order just, you know, it's Imperial Order. There's nothing I really have to say about any of these cards. Strike is, of course, very good for whenever you're playing into a board going second, which the deck can do, but, you know, admittedly, I will say that the deck does struggle going second, just because, I mean, we're playing a mid-range strategy here, so we would like to go first and then go into a grind game. Alright, so for the extra deck, we have the Super Quantum Mech King Great Magnus of all computers.
Super Quantum Mech King Great Magnus is now Magnus, Great King of the Computer.
So basically, this guy, you have to summon him with 3 level 12s, lol JK. So like I said, you use the field spell, and you can summon this guy. And he gains different effects based on the number of materials he has. He's got 2+ materials. Once returned during either player's turn, you can detach a material, and you can shuffle a card into deck. Obviously, a quick effect, like I said, during either player's turn. 4+, unaffected by card effects except for super quants. Very nice. And then 6, he turns into a Mistake on Legs. So if you could get this guy out with 6 or 7 materials, you have the ability to have a quick effect spin, a Mistake on Legs, and a Towers all in 1 card at 3600 attack. Very nice. And then if he dies, I think he floats. Yeah, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 3 Super Quantum Mecha Beasts Exceeds with different names from your graveyard. So that's cool as well. So, like, obviously the idea before was, if they out it, you just get 3 guys, and then on your turn, you summon any Quant monster, and then you can just make him again. Well, obviously with the field spell, but, yeah, so Mecha King of the Computers. Yeah, so then we have all of our Quantal Exceeds, the Mech Beasts. So we have the Light, Wind, Fire, and Water. So again, like I said, if these guys have the corresponding Super Quantal underneath them, their effects are quick effects. So I will quickly graze over. They all have the effect that they cannot attack unless it has an Exceed material, which is rather unfortunate. But however, this one is a Giant Hand. This one is a Book of Moon. This one is a Pop, destroy 1 monster specifically, and then this one is MST. So definitely get a lot of utility out of there as well. So you got quite the range of stuff that you can do, and they all have an additional effect where once per turn you can attach a Super Quant monster from your it's a Super Quant or Super Quantal, yeah, a Super Quantum monster, so you can't use the Exceeds. So, but anyway, you can attach a super quantum monster from your inner field underneath them so that they can, you know, attack. But yeah, that's the core of your Quantal Xyz. The only thing about this extra deck, I will say, I'll just say it now. The extra deck is only 12 cards. I don't have a Zeus anymore, so a Zeus is something that is included in this extra deck. Potentially, the last 3 slots could be a Zeus and then 2, like an additional copy of 2 of these. Or you could just play double Zeus or whatever. There's a lot of things you could do with those 3 slots. However, a Zeus is in this extra deck. I just sold mine, so it's not going to be in the profile. And that's why the Gaia Charger is here, because you can slap this over the Lion, I think. Yeah, you put this over the Lion, and then you get at least a 2 material Zeus. And then we have the Vespernato for the very, you know, it's very much the similar reasons. And then we have Dweller for an option, Baguska for Plan B. Of course, Baguska always being the best Plan B. Kind of, if you're going in blind, you could just make this and then tell them to deal with it and then play on a later date. But yeah, that's the Exceeds, and then of course 1 Zeus, and then you have 2 slots to kind of do whatever you want with. Like I said, the MCO40 deck profile, they were playing the Dagda with the Scythe in the main, but I felt like it was kind of pointless because you never really go for Link monsters anyway. You kind of just end up playing off of your Exceeds, just like that's just kind of how the deck functions. So I didn't really see the point in including the Dagda, and also the Scythe is not only a brick, but I felt like every time I could go for the Dagda, I ended up banishing it off of like the Desires, or like it was engraved or something off of like a discard off the field spell. So yeah, I ended up cutting this, but it is definitely an option because you go for this, and then you use the field spell to make the Water Exceed, and then you trigger this and get the Scythe, and then you pop it on your opponent's turn and you skip the turn. So it's definitely a valid option. I just ended up cutting it. And then the last cards are the access code Selene Fiber for that package for the OTKI win button. Just normally hand trap and then, you know, do the thing. But yeah, that is the Super Quantum deck. This is something I've been testing for about a week now. I was definitely a fan of this deck whenever it first came out. A buddy of mine and me were trying to figure something out with a list whenever it was brand new. But pretty much, I picked it up. I picked it up later towards the end of Master Rule 4. And, you know, Brilliant Fusion ended up getting banned, so I ended up dropping the deck again. So naturally, whenever I saw the list surface again on MGO40's channel, I was quite intrigued to take a peek and just take another look at the deck in just a different light, such as that player did. I forget his name. He's a European player, though, and he's definitely a better deck builder than I, turns out. But yeah, anyway, that's the list. Like, comment, sub, so on and so forth. My socials are down below. I haven't really been on Twitch in about a month now. I've been trying to adjust to working new jobs and trying to figure out where I could really fit that in. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.